As we head over to the UK, um, protests have been going on around the world to stop the genocide in Palestine, and like we said, we had more of these in London over the weekend. This is from Middle East Eye. Tens of thousands rally in London for Gaza ceasefire as tensions rise in the Middle East. Fears of escalation are on the rise following the assassination of Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh. Tens of thousands of people rallied in central London days after the killings of Hamas leader and the senior Hezbollah commander Fuad Shakur, triggering fears of a regional conflict. Marchers began at Park Lane amid a heavy police presence as the Metropolitan Police face continued pressure to manage Palestine solidarity protests. Really manhandle. Weaving their way through the heart of London towards Parliament, the protesters called for a ceasefire in Gaza and chanted, "Free Palestine," and from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free, demanding equal rights for Palestinians between the Jordan River and the Mediterranean. So you got that going on. That's one side of this. Now you have the other side. Far-right mob storms Rotherham Hotel and attacks police amid escalating violence. We're going to get into who this Tommy Robinson person is in just a second. So rioters forced their way into a Holiday Inn Express by smashing windows and pelting police officers with bricks and beer bottles. I want to make a Holiday Inn Express joke there, but there's no joke there. A far-right mob stormed a hotel allegedly used to house migrants in Rotherham, UK yesterday as riots continued for a fifth day. The riots followed the deadly stabbings in Southport, which were falsely attributed to Muslims and migrants. Footage broadcast by the BBC shows scores of rioters forcing their way into the Holiday Inn Express in Rotherham after smashing windows and setting a bin outside the building on fire. What's up, Choosy? At least one police officer was wounded in the attacks as the mob, some draped in English flags, hurled bricks, beer bottles, and other projectiles at officers. Rioters could be heard on numerous live streams hosted on TikTok chanting the name of far-right activist Tommy Robinson as they threw projectiles at police officers in riot gear. Later yesterday, riot police were deployed to Middlesbrough as groups of angry men took to the streets in Bolton. Authorities issued dispersal notices granting officers extra powers to deal with antisocial behavior. So this Tommy Robinson guy, right? This is from the Times of India. This kind of gives a little breakdown of who this guy is. So Tommy Robinson, this guy right here, the former leader of the English Defence League, who has been linked to the riot in the UK, has been spotted in a luxury resort in Cyprus. Oh, wow. How about that? Well, his people are rioting over there. He's over there having a nice little holiday. Despite a UK arrest warrant issued last Monday after he missed a court appearance, Robinson has continued to post inflammatory messages on social media from his holiday destination, where he's staying with family and friends. According to a report by the Daily Mail, Robinson has been staying at a 5-star all-inclusive resort. Ooh. But let's get to the meat of it. So on July 27th, he led a major rally marked by nationalist rhetoric, raising concerns about potential violence and public disorder. He fled the UK after allegedly committing contempt of court by screening a film at a protest that repeated false claims he made about a Syrian refugee. Despite a court order to appear, Robinson left the country, seemingly to avoid legal consequences. From an undisclosed location, he has continued to release statements and videos on social media urging his supporters to continue their protests and claiming they are on the verge of something massive. The unrest is the worst in England, has seen in over a decade, highlighting growing racial and religious tensions in the country. The violence is the worst England has seen since the summer of 2011, when widespread rioting took place following the police killing of a mixed-race man in North London. The violence follows a mass stabbing at a dance class in Southport, which left 3 girls dead. False rumors about the attacker's background have fueled anti-immigrant sentiment, leading to a series of violent protests. The unrest is primarily driven by misinformation spread online, falsely claiming that the suspect in the Southport stabbing, Axel Ruda Cubana, was an asylum seeker and a radical Islamist. In reality, Ruda Cubana, 17, is a British-born citizen of Rwandan descent, and the incident is not being treated as a terrorist attack. These events have escalated in the wake of a stabbing rampage at the children's dance class that left 3 girls dead. The unrest, fueled by misinformation and anti-immigration sentiment, have seen rioters clashing with police, targeting hotels housing asylum seekers, and causing widespread damage in various towns and cities. Right? So that's... you got the far right stirring up shit over there. You got the far right stirring up shit over here. You know, you're guaranteed in a lot of these peaceful protests for Palestine that you're going to have some people in the mix trying to make them look violent, when in reality it's the far right that's doing most of the shit. But of course, who is this Tommy Robinson guy to blame? Who's really to blame? Well, I'll tell you who's to blame. It's Russia. Russia. RT telling us why UK is blaming Mother Russia.
Which resulted in anti-immigration protesters flooding the streets and clashing with police. As police tried to calm the protests, their efforts eventually proved futile as the crowds on both sides of the issue clashed. In Liverpool, tensions ran so high that it turned into what, by all accounts, was a battlefield as demonstrators threw fireworks and set fires. About 90 people reportedly arrested so far. However, the media is wasting little time in finding who to blame, and apparently it's all Russia's fault somehow. Outlets like The Independent published articles underlining concerns that Vladimir Putin is behind the trouble. According to the narrative, people who have taken to the streets were enraged over last week's mass stabbing in Southport, which left 3 young girls dead. And they are apparently fueled by Russian misinformation spread by social media. Russia, meantime, by the way, says...
This is predictable gaslighting. This is predictable gaslighting from people who have themselves contributed to the destabilization of entire countries and regions, setting in motion unprecedented refugee flows and human suffering. Russia does not intervene in the internal affairs of sovereign states.
However, not everyone has been quick to jump on the blame Moscow bandwagon. Some outlets pointed out that the accusation of foreign disinformation is a convenient excuse for the failures of the British authorities. We heard from a human rights activist in London, Theo Russell, who says the claims against Russia are baseless.
We've seen similar claims over many months, particularly during the period of mass protests against Israeli actions in Gaza and Yemen and the West Bank, coming from right-wing Tory Home Ministers, Suella Braverman and Priti Patel. These emanate essentially from the British security services and certain sections of the establishment who are aiming to, their world aims are to basically achieve regime change in various countries, including Russia, China and Iran. And these claims are often totally baseless.
Yep. Why did Trump become president? Russia. Who started all these riots? Russia. Yeah. So there'll be more of that. There'll be much more of that kind of thing. Just keep your eyes open for the blame game.